Hi, I'm Lucy from Sew Essential and I'm here today with a roundup of patterns, fabrics and some techniques and tutorials you could use to sew along with the sewing bees for week 7 of series 9, which was 90s week, which was my heyday. I absolutely loved that era and I loved some of the garments they made. So let's get started first of all with the pattern challenge. The pattern challenge, the bees had to sew a pair of cargo pants, which was brilliant because they have been back on the high streets for the last few seasons. Super popular, really comfortable and easy to wear, and I love the way that now they are either dressed up in like silky satins and things with pair of heels, or dressed down for casual everyday wear, something everyone can enjoy wearing and making. And I used to have loads of pairs of them in the 90s. I loved the whole Gwen Stefani vibe. If anyone remembers that, I was totally that girl that had the combat trousers, the cropped vest at the time. I used to wear my hair in little buns on the top of my head. I just loved that whole vibe. So it was so much fun watching last night's show. Now we have lots of patterns that you could use, so I'm going to do a relatively quick run through of these. So the first one is McCall's 8099, which has got an elasticated waist and an elasticated cuff, or you've got the option for a non-elasticated cuff. It's got the big patch pockets on the side that you would expect, and there's also an option for shorts as well, and that runs up to an extra large, which is a 37 waist and 46 hip. I'm going to show you the fabrics at the end. I'm just going to run through the patterns first and then I'll show you the fabrics for these cargo pants because they'd be suitable for any of them. So the next pattern I want to show you is McCall's 8206, which has also got massive 90s vibes. It's a cargo trouser, but this time you can go for a wide leg option, which also ticks another one of the massive trends at the moment. There's also an option for a tapered leg into a cuff, and then there's an option for just a pair of wide legged trousers without any of that sort of cargo effect on them. So you've got a few different looks that you can create with this pattern, but it does also have a fly front zip, I believe, by the looks of it, which was one of the things that the bees had to tackle in the episode. So I'm going to pop a link to our tutorial for how to sew a fly front zip below. But yeah, this McCall's pattern runs up to a 24, which is a 39 waist and 48 hip. The next pattern I wanted to share with you is by Style Arc. Style Arc patterns are great because they run up to a size 30, so it's a really inclusive size range. And the Victor woven jeans, they're called. They're kind of like a little twist on a cargo pant, a bit of a less traditional cargo pant. They're a relatively loose fitting or relaxed fit trouser that are tapered, but then they've got big patch pockets with lots of opportunity for top stitching on them. Looks like they've got the fly front zip as well and the waistband. So lots of the techniques that the bees had to tackle on that one as well. And then I've just got a few more to show you. So the next one is the Vicky Sews Daryl trouser, which have definite combat trousers. They've got what looks like a fly front zip, a waistband. They've got some cool angled pockets at the top here. They've then got the patch pockets on the leg, that traditional sort of cargo look. They've also got a belt that is a really cool little detail that's attached to one side and comes down the leg. Patch pockets on the back, and then a drawstring option for the hem of the trousers, which I thought was very modern and contemporary, and a great look as well. And then another pattern I wanted to share with you. I told there were lots, but I wanted to give you lots of choice on this one because I think it's such a wearable style and I think so many people would go for it. So another one is the McCall's 8367. Again, some cool sort of twists and different ideas on that traditional cargo pant look. So this one doesn't have the fly front zip. It's got an elasticated like shirred waistband with the option for a belt. It's got loose fitting trousers that can either finish as a loose fit all the way down or can finish as an elasticated shirred cuff at the hem, and then it's got patch pockets on the legs and the option for some shorts as well. and that one runs up to an XXL, which is a 41.5 waist and a 50 hip. For any of these, the size charts are on the website, and if ever you need any help, just drop us an email. We'd be really happy to help. The next one is by Vicky Sews again, and they're the Joanne pants. So this is a nice alternative if you want something super comfy. They're effectively a track pant, or we call them jogging bottoms in the UK. Elasticated waistband, shirred again, but this one would be made in like a sweater fabric, which we've got some nice sweater fabrics on the website that you could use. I'm going to pop links to all of these below as well, and all of the fabrics and all of the tutorials, all of the links will be below, so do check those out. These again have got like an elasticated cuff, and the big patch pockets on the sides, but just a nice comfy sort of loungewear version, if you'd rather make some along those lines. And then the last cargo pants pattern I wanted to share with you is New Look 6644, which is another elasticated waist option with the cute little pockets at the side seams at the top, patch pockets on the leg, options for a roll-up cuff that's buttoned with a little like lapel thing, an epaulette type thing, sorry. And then there's another option for them to be tapered into a cuff at the hem, and then you also get a top with this pattern as well. So lots of different options there. And for all the woven patterns that I showed you, I think the only one that wasn't woven was the Joanne pants by Vicky Sews. I just think our Sevenberry twill fabrics would be perfect for them. They come in a lovely range of colours. We've got these gorgeous brights that you could have a lot of fun with, but then we've got some lovely neutrals as well. I've just picked out this olivey khaki sort of traditional cargo pant colour for you there, but then as I say, we've got like navy, we've got a beige colour, we've got a lovely bright orange, a lovely jade green, a lovely sort of periwinkle colour I think it's called. So all the links for those fabrics and those patterns are below, and so many opportunities for you to get on the bandwagon with cargo pants. What's not to love about them? Then on to the made to measure challenge, which was just such a big challenge for the bees this week. Loved the theme. It was make a dress fit for a supermodel in the 90s. So, you know, real opportunity for them to kind of absolutely go for it and choose, you know, a beautiful dress that they could make, nothing too off, you know, it didn't have to be off the wall. It could just be that beautiful, classic, glamorous gown that we all dream of sewing, I think, deep down inside. And a lot of us, the time, probably don't have an excuse to do it. But yeah, the bees really sort of you know, did some amazing dresses. There was one in particular that I absolutely adored. But yeah, let's crack on and talk about Vicky's first of all. So Vicky made a very fitted bodice which had cups, like bra cups. It was boned, and then she decided to sew satin bias round all of the boning in a contrasting colour, and you know, it really required precision sewing, and I think she did a great job of that. I think it was really even, really neat. I think she did struggle a bit with the satin fabric, if I'm honest, and you know, we all know that can be tricky, and as such, actually, I'm going to pop another tutorial below for all my top tips for how to sew with slippery fabrics, because that was something that came up a few times in the show last night. A lot of people chose those lovely, you know, satins and crepe de chines and things, and I think if you follow a few key tips on how to sew with those fabrics, you can get really good results. Having said that, the poor bees are up against it time-wise. I would not like to have to sew any of the stuff that they sew as quickly as they have to do it. I think, take my hats off to them. I think they do an incredible job. But yeah, so Vicky's dress then had a fitted skirt, and it just absolutely had the wow factor. It was really impressive what she did. I can't believe she did it in the time she did it in. And the pattern that I think would make a good version of that, which has got a sexy sort of wow factor on the back that Vicky's dress didn't have this element, is the Vicky Sews Ornella dress. So it has got those sort of bra cups, it's got the boning, so you could do all of that jazz that she did, and then it's got this beautiful fitted, well, sort of, I was probably cut on the bias actually, skirt with a godet at the back, and it just screams Hollywood glamour and also 90s supermodel glamour. I thought you could sew that up in a John Caldor Mystique fabric. You could go for the same sort of colour Vicky went for, this lovely deep red. It's got a matte side and a shiny side. Remember, all of the fabrics and patterns and tutorials are linked below if you need to find them. But yeah, I thought you could do it in that, and you could even buy the contrast satin ivory bias. We stocked that as well. So that was Vicky's dress. The next one is Asma's dress. And this was the one that I just fell in love with. The fit was absolutely impeccable. The way she sewed it, it was just a real, I mean, just her skill and ability was just off the charts. It was fabulous, and I loved the sort of quirky touches she put on it as well. It had like, it was really sexy. It was like lace, a lace covered satin, I think it was, and then she'd use leather with it, and she'd use some sort of belt straps across the back. It was a work of art. It was amazing. I loved it. And we didn't have a pattern exactly the same for it, but I think McCall's 6838 would make something very similar. So this is a dress with multiple different views, but it had the really dramatic fishtail that Asma's dress had, and then it's got the very fitted sort of pencil skirt element to the skirt, and then it's got a fitted bodice, and then I think it's got an overlay. But I thought what you could do is omit the overlay, and you could add spaghetti straps and create the same sort of look as Asma. But yeah, absolutely incredible that dress was. And this dress would be so much fun to sew, especially with that as your inspiration. I think it would really spur you on to have a crack at that, watching that episode of the Sewing Bee. And the fabric I thought you could use for that again was our John Caldor Mystique sort of lighter weight Duchess satin. I don't think it is a satin back crepe. It's almost like a satin back crepe, but you've got that matte side and that shiny side again. It's beautiful quality, a really lovely fabric to sew that one up in. And I also thought you could use that fabric to sew up the pattern that was inspired by Mia's dress. Mia made a sort of very fitted sort of strappy shift dress, I guess you would call it. With a zip down the back, and then she added some sort of chunky gold embellishments, very sort of like Liz Hurley type look. It made me think of. And there are patterns on the website that are just that simple classic little black dress, but I thought actually there's a new pattern out by Know Me, which I think is absolutely gorgeous, and it's on the same theme as Mia's but with a twist. So I thought I'd share it with you because it's a new pattern. I love it. I think it's wonderful. It's Know Me 2032. It comes in a mini version, which would be more like Mia's, and a maxi version, which reminded me of the famous mint green dress that Rachel Green wore on Friends, which was also a 90s thing. So I just thought, yep, this pattern ticks those boxes. It's got a lovely fitted bodice with a sweetheart neckline, very fitted waist, and then a fitted sort of skirt. It's got two little slits at the front, but you could omit one of those and elongate the other one if you wanted to recreate more of the look that Mia's dress had. It's got spaghetti straps, but then it's also got a spaghetti halter as well. So that's a little bit different to Mia's, but I just thought a lovely, interesting little twist. And then at the back, the halter neck straps tie, the other spaghetti straps come down, and the dress goes into a V, and then there's a little bridge across the back that just kind of keeps everything in place. So just a really fun, lovely design, a really classic, beautiful dress that I would think would make the perfect little black dress that would stand the test of time, and just reminded me of Mia's. So the John Caldor satin would be perfect for that one as well. Then we move on to Lauren's dress. So Lauren decided to go for a sexy slip dress, which was a bit of a theme, totally reminded me of the 90s. There were loads of those silky, satiny slip dresses around. Definitely made a comeback in recent years, and we've got lots and lots of patterns that tick that box. But the one that I chose was the Sadie dress by Tessuti Fabrics. It's a slip dress. It hasn't got the cowl neck that Lauren's had, but it has got a lovely scoop neck and very thin spaghetti straps. I think it's probably cut on the bias. It's just your classic sort of sexy, skim the body slip dress, absolutely gorgeous. And I thought, rather than, I think it requires like a really sort of lovely floaty silky fabric, and I thought rather than go for plain black, which we've done on the last couple, I thought this fabulous John Caldor Paris fabric, imagine this sewn up into a slip dress, it would be perfect. Also, it's a print, so I feel like it would be, if I was making it, I'd feel like it's a bit more forgiving for a slip dress as well. I think like a plain fabric shows literally everything, but like a print will, you know, is a little bit more forgiving to wear, I think, and to sew with as well. So yeah, that would be my fabric of choice for that one. But just look how beautiful and flowy that is, and just the print is gorgeous. I think that would make wonderful, wonderful slip dress. The next one I want to show is that one that Lizzie made. So Lizzie went for a similar theme, a slip dress style dress again, but hers had a bit more of a sort of fitted bust, it was supposed to be, I think. Yeah, again, these were sewn with slippery fabrics, and I definitely recommend reading the tutorial on how to sew with slippery fabrics, top tips for doing that. Obviously, you're not going to be under the pressure the sewing bees were, but if you follow the tips and the advice, I think, you know, if you've got time on your side as well, you can get great results. But Lizzie's dress, I thought Vogue 1842 reminded me of that very much. There's two different views. Both of them have that sort of focus on the bust area, and then the dress drops as an empire line from there, so it's like a fitted bust and then an empire line, probably bias cut skirt, I would imagine, on this dress again. And again, I thought that beautiful John Caldor, I think it's a crepe de chine or it might be a satin, all the details are on the website, just follow the links below. I thought that would make a perfect pairing for that one as well. And then finally, Tony went sort of, you know, broke the mould again. He seems to like to do things a little bit differently to everyone else, which I really like. I think he's definitely got his own sort of sense of style and design and what he wants to achieve, you know, and he doesn't get distracted by anything else that's going on, which I really like that about him. He decided to make a really fitted dress out of scuba, I think it was. He must like sewing with scuba because he's done that a couple of times now. And in fact, I might have an article about sewing with scuba I can pop below, so I'll see if I can find that one, but if not, there's loads of other tutorials anyway. But it was a very fitted dress with a simple crew neckline, long sleeves, and what he decided to do was just do an asymmetric colour block down the centre of it, which was really effective. He sewed beautifully. So the pattern I chose that I thought you could use to recreate that look was McCall 7999. I think you can use wovens and, oh no, it's rib knits, jerseys, interlocks, velvet knits that you can use with this one. There's an option for a turtleneck with an elbow length sleeve and a knit above the knee length hem. There's an option for a maxi version with a turtleneck and a long sleeve. And then there's an option for the crew neck, the long sleeve, and a really sexy side slit on that one. And the scuba, I thought you could make that in scuba. And Tony did it in like a beige colour and a black, but we've actually got this grey, sort of silvery grey colour and black in the scuba that we do, which is also John Caldor. And I thought that would make a really nice alternative to the colour blocking that Tony did. But we've got some other colours as well, if that's not your sort of preference. resurgence. But yes, that's it in a nutshell. Another great week. Really sad to see another one of the bees go. Always feel emotional at the end, and they do as well, don't they? But yeah, really sort of starting to get into a whole new level now with the sewing, and I can't wait to see what happens next week. If you like what you see today, please like and subscribe, because I'll bring you videos packed full of sewing goodness every week. And do check out the links below where I've linked all the patterns and the fabrics and the tutorials, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.